Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. Prime Minister Mark Carney stated that Alberta's best place is within Canada, following a judge's recent decision to dismiss a provincial petition calling for a separation referendum. As reported by the Canadian press, the judge ruled that the petition was improperly issued under provincial law and that Premier Danielle Smith's government had neglected its duty to consult First Nations. Premier Smith reacted to the ruling by calling it anti-democratic and announced her government's intention to appeal the decision. Carney emphasized that while referendums are a part of any democracy, the established rules must also be respected. He pointed out that this includes adhering to a federal law that grants Ottawa a role in determining if any separation question is clearly understood by voters and what constitutes a sufficient majority vote. With the court's decision, Premier Smith now faces pressure to consider placing the separation question directly on a ballot herself, a matter she plans to discuss with her United Conservative Party caucus and cabinet members. Radio Canada International reports that Prime Minister Mark Carney announced Powering Canada Strong, a new national strategy to double Canada's electricity grid capacity by 2050. Speaking in Ottawa, Carney emphasized that electrification is crucial for affordability, competitiveness, and achieving net zero emissions. The plan notably increases the use of natural gas in Canada's electricity mix, aiming to lower costs for 7 in 10 Canadian households. The strategy highlights natural gas's low emissions intensity and its ability to support peak demand, bolster reliability, and meet baseload generation needs. The government will also review and amend the previous Trudeau government's controversial Clean Electricity Regulations, CR, which aimed for deep emissions reductions by 2050 but faced opposition. Consultations will be held with various stakeholders, including provinces, territories, Indigenous peoples, utilities, and unions. Currently, over 80% of Canada's grid is non-emitting, largely due to hydro, nuclear, and renewables. The strategy also considers involving the Major Projects Office in expanding inter-provincial transmission infrastructure. Though no new funding was announced, an expansion of existing tax credits is possible. The government also seeks more energy-efficient methods to reduce consumer costs. The Supreme Court of Canada has cleared Canadian Pacific Railway Company, CP Rail, of all liability in the devastating 2013 Lac-Mégantic, Quebec, train disaster, Global News reports. The incident claimed 47 lives and reduced the downtown area to ashes after a runaway train, operated by Montreal Main and Atlantic Railway, derailed and caused a massive explosion. Several parties, including victims and their families, had sought to hold CP responsible, arguing the company failed to inform Montreal, Main, and Atlantic Railway that the oil it was transporting was improperly labeled. However, CP had previously prevailed in both Superior Court and the Court of Appeal. The Supreme Court's refusal to hear a further appeal upholds these lower court decisions, meaning CP is not legally obligated to contribute to the $460 million compensation fund established for the victims, their families, and the bankrupt Montreal Main and Atlantic Railways creditors. As is customary, the highest court did not provide specific reasons for its refusal. City News Everywhere reports a significant medical nomenclature update. Polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, a hormonal condition affecting 1 in 8 women globally, has been officially renamed polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome, PMOS. This change, published in The Lancet after 14 years of collaboration between experts and patients, addresses the inaccuracies of the old name, which was criticized for reducing a complex endocrine disorder to a focus on ovarian cysts and ovaries, contributing to misdiagnoses and inadequate treatment. PMOS is characterized by hormone fluctuations impacting weight, metabolic and mental health, the reproductive system, and skin. It's associated with metabolic syndrome, increasing risks of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Symptoms vary, but often include irregular menstrual cycles and excess androgens, leading to acne or hair changes. It is also the most common cause of female infertility. Treatment emphasizes lifestyle changes, such as diet, exercise, and sleep, to manage insulin levels, which influence testosterone production. Other treatments include medications like metformin, androgen blockers, and hormonal birth control, tailored to individual needs. This renaming initiative aims to foster greater awareness and drive better, more comprehensive patient care. Shares of Sherritt International Corp. fell by more than 20% on the Toronto Stock Exchange after the company announced the resignations of both its auditors, Deloitte LLP, and Chief Financial Officer Yasmin Gabriel. This development means Sherritt will be unable to file its first quarter financial statements this week. The Canadian press reports that the company anticipates the Ontario Securities Commission will issue a cease trade order, which would prohibit trading in its securities in Canada until the necessary documents are filed. The resignations follow the U.S. decision to expand sanctions on Cuba on May 1st. Sherritt holds a 50% interest in the MOA joint venture, which mines nickel in Cuba, and had suspended its direct participation in the venture last week. While Sherritt has not been formally designated under the executive order, it acknowledges that such a designation could occur at any time. The company has begun searching for a new external auditor, but notes that the U.S. executive order may affect the availability or willingness of firms to take on the role. The stock was last down 3 cents to 12 cents in trading. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.